Hello, welcome to another Retainer Designer live stream. Today we're doing Pontic alternatives, and I have a case here that needs a couple Pontics, so we're going to put some tooth-colored acrylic blocks in, trim it a little bit to make it look like a Pontic from the side. Nothing fancy, but a little bit of a backstory. The case I'm doing, I got the instructions here. Hold on. The assistant that sends this to me, she's awesome. Her name's Karen, and we were always talking about how you don't need to be in the posterior. You don't need fancy Pontics, you know. So, and if y'all don't know, Pontics are these things. They're plastic teeth, and so they call them a Pontic. It's used in crown and bridge also. So if you have a bridge and you have a crown on one end and a crown on another end, and there's a missing tooth, you can put a Pontic there, and it kind of floats above, connected to the other two. But so these are Pontics. They are plastic teeth. They come in different shapes, sizes, colors, all that stuff. It is definitely a harder plastic, because if these are used in dentures, they eat with them and they chew on them, and so they need to withstand a lot of grinding and chewing and stuff. So they're a lot more, they're harder polymerization that they do on these teeth. Whereas what I'm going to do today is just basic acrylic, which in our case, that's all we need. We just need a place to hold open the spaces, because most likely the kid's going to get a bridge or an implant later on in life, and they just need to hold the space open. But Karen sent me this case, and she goes, missing lower twos, using 3s as 2s and 4s as 3s. I made an Essex using acrylic shade 62 to fill in the spaces. We need the same thing done for Holly. If you don't understand my mumbo jumbo, quack quack, give me a call. So she knows my wife likes to raise ducks, and oh, actually I do have a duck cam. Okay, I kid y'all. That's something I bought my wife. It's actually a goose, and she puts her keys on it. I put it in there to make sure I got a good shot in the trim box. So that's what we're doing today. Instead of using one of these for a Pontic in the posterior, we're going to make a tooth-colored acrylic block and try to make it look a little bit like a tooth. I'm also going to show you a second method I like to use if I don't want to use one of these for the posterior, and it's a trick I got from the ORG Tech Talk. So if you're not a member of that Facebook group, check out ORG Tech Talk. A bunch of ortholabs get in there, and they do that. They talk and give each other tips and stuff. So let's get started. I got my model here, and I'll show you what we're working with. So looking at that, those instructions, remember she said missing 2s, so they have their 1s, which are right here, and so missing 2s, so using 3s as 2s, so they did a good job making those 3s look like 2s. So using canines as laterals and using bicuspids as canines. So if you look at it from the front, it kind of almost looks normal, as you can see. So isn't that crazy? But if you look at it this way, you can tell that they've moved these up. Now see that they made big spaces, so they're not missing a tooth. Oh, they are. They're missing the laterals. Probably just genetically missing the laterals. Never was born with them, or I don't know. But they gathered all the spaces up, and they're going to be putting Pontics, or they'll be putting something there in the future. So we just need to make a retainer to hold spaces. And, you know, when they smile, there's not a big, huge gap there. We'll have some tooth colored acrylic. So let me finish prepping this. And I do like to still get rid of any undercuts on the linguals, mesial and distal. The distal of this and the mesial of this, just to make sure I don't lock in the retainer. So we are going to, there's a weird hole here for my printer. It keeps printing a hole right here. I don't know why. It's on all my retainers. Now in this instructions, they want ball clasp right here between the 6s and the 7s. So we are going to, or maybe they want them here. No, they definitely put them there. So we're going to put them here. And the acrylic doesn't extend past that. It's like right there. So I'm going to take my ball burr. So, as in such, funny word of it. And, oh, I need to order some more ball clasp. I'm like digging in this, I'm like digging in this, my little shelf I have here for my balls. It's just dust came out of there. So I have a couple ball clasps here. And so as you can see, my ball burr looks like a ball clasp. I'm just going to prep this by removing a little bit of the gums so that that ball clasp can get up underneath the undercut there. Yeah, let me use my little compressed air. All right, let's see. Got some comments. Sona, good night. Nice to see you again. Yes, nice to see you too, Sonia. Michaela, good to see you too. I got your message that you lost your phone. You had to get a new phone. So I know how frustrating that can be, is losing your phone. Or you broke it, I can't remember. So I'm going to get my paintbrush here. And we'll paint this first. And they want labial acrylic, so we're going to paint the front and thoroughly paint this area. Now, before I let that dry, let me get my pencil here. One thing I do try to do is I'm going to try to make it look, well, you can't see that very much. See how the gums have a nice shape to them like this? I'm going to try to mimic that. And I should have done this before I painted the separator on there. Having a hard time drawing. That way, my drawing is up underneath the separator. All right, so I'm going to let that dry, and we will put a second coat on. But in the meantime, we are going. Well, that seems weird. Nope, that's not what I want. That? Okay. I think I figured it out. Oh, Michaela. Mahala. Sorry. Nope, I broke it. Oh, no. As you see, I'm using extra phone. So this phone here is my lab phone that I'm using as a camera. So I got extra phones that I use for doing this. I think I can figure this out. Okay, so one thing we're going to do is, what does that mean? Damn you, Green Bay. What does that mean? I know Cowboys play at, wait, did Green Bay beat the Saints? I know the Saints gave the Cowboys a whooping the other day, but did the Green Bay beat the Saints? I guess that's probably what happened. But I know the Cowboys play at 7:30, so, you know, all those Cowboy fans out there, make sure you tune in. I think they're playing the Steelers. Okay. Now, I talked about making an acrylic block. Now, the acrylic block we are going to be using tooth-colored polymer. Well, let me take that back. We are using that. I don't know if you can see up here. I have all my shades up here. So we are actually going to be using 62 because that is what Karen said she made the one with the Essex out of, 62. Now, one thing the second method I want to cover, so instead of using these, is you can actually take one of these off, like this, the tooth you want. And I also have, this is kind of expensive, but man, does it come in handy. Lab putty, 90. So let me do this real quick. I'll show you what I do to, let's see, this, and then this. So what this is a 2-part lab putty, and you mix the two together and you can make a little mold. Now this is the tip that I got from the Facebook group. So those are way too big. So I'm going to make 2 little same size balls of these. Maybe I can show you this one. Now, let me put these on here and get them out of here. So let's put this here, put this here, put this here, put that there, and put these over behind me. So now let's switch to here. This is, so I get these 2 same size lab putty, and it's an activator and a base. And you use the same amount. They come with little spoons, and you can use those, but you just mix these together until they're one color, and it'll just be a lighter blue, nothing fancy. And then, when it's all one color, I take that tooth I just pulled off and I stick it in here. And what this is going to do is make a mold of this tooth. Just like that. And I'll let that sit. And while it's setting, it's time for the second coat on here. And what I may do is, I might put a base on this so that I can handle it better. It's kind of a wide mouth. Okay, let that. I got my little fan here. I don't know if you can see. Oh, don't move over. Don't fall down. I got my little fan here. And, oh, yeah, actually, usually I play some music just to have a nice background for when I stop talking because I'm concentrating too hard. In my drawer here where I keep denture teeth, I have now collected these things so you can keep them forever once you get done. And this is what I end up with. So, and so like here is upper right 7, and I mark them, and I have a mold, and I just fill up that mold using tooth colored acrylic, and this is what I get. Then you pop this out. Now, it's not near as pretty as one of these, so let's say I use this mold, which is pretty close, maybe this one. Now, or I have the right mold, but I don't have the right shade of acrylic. I can change the shade, but it will still polish real nice. It's almost shiny already, but you can see how shiny that is. One thing that you can't do is, and you can try, I have some central, some anterior teeth in here, and you can attempt to, so this is a upper left 1, and I put the mold on here, 135, upper left 1. So let's see if I can find one. 135, there's a 136. It's close enough. So here's a 136, and I just took one of these teeth and I made a mold, and you can change it. But one thing is, and I don't know if I can show this on here. There's some enameling that they do on here, which it makes it more see-through at the edge, like natural teeth are. If you're using a central, I would definitely use a pontic. Now, we're using these in the posterior. You don't need that as much. Now, these also make for great, if you need to make a pontic for an Essex, you can just pour up one of these any shade they want, and it's actually going to be covered with clear thermoform plastic, which will be the enamel of it. So you can't really tell that it's tooth-colored powder and not a pontic. So that being said, this is what I keep, and like I said, I mark them. This was a great tip I got. I forget who it is that gave me that tip, but I really appreciate it. Here's an upper right 1, and then like here's a lateral that I've poured up, and then you just trim off this flashing. And these are actually easier to trim on than actual pontics. And then so these are tooth molds upper, and I have, of course, tooth molds lower. Don't have as many, but I keep them separated. So there's lower left 4. So like in this case, I could have used this lower left 4, and I probably have a lower right 4 somewhere. Lower right 5. That's pretty close. Well, here we go. Lower right 5 and lower left 5. I could use those two, poured them up in 62 in the pressure pot, popped them out, trimmed them up, put them in there, and we're good to go. This case, they want acrylic blocks that are tooth colored, and that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to give this a little bit longer. It doesn't take too long, but this should be ready for us to wire bend on. So the plan today is I'm putting a base on here, and I just like to hold it on with some hot glue. It just helps grab a hold of it so much better. I believe in one of my live streams, somebody said they got their, so I got it. I get this from Great Lakes Ortho. It's my Sure Bonder, and it's a wireless one. So what it does is, it's not on right now because it doesn't have any wires connected to it, but it's still hot. So when you put it in here, it charges. See that light turns on, and it charges and melts the glue inside there, so it's ready to go when you pick it up. And I've never had it off of there long enough for it to cool down again. So I always put it back in the handle, and we're good to go. All right, let's do, I think we're good. Oh, we got some, woo! The Saints play the Chiefs tomorrow. California. Oh, wait, California. Oh, California time. Okay. Jason Brown, my former boss. Hola. Hello, how you doing? Sonia, wow, that's genius. Oh, yeah, and it's not even my idea. If you're talking about the molds, not my idea. I'm not going to claim it. That was definitely, I got it from Facebook forum. ORG Tech Talk. So, bad football weekend for me. Bama lost. I heard that. Bama lost. Auburn lost. Both of my fantasy teams are losing, and the Cowboys will probably lose tonight. Probably so. Oh, you're probably right. Yeah. Yeah, I heard that was a huge upset for Bama. I read an article. Who was it? Vanderbilt beat them. Does the bluish mold material stay pliable, or do you have to keep it? No. It's kind of the same stuff as PVS impression material, and that stuff will last 100 years, is what I was told. But yeah, you don't have to keep it moist or anything. And I love how carvable it is. Let me get a nice knife here. I got a brand new, Jason, I got a brand new Freddy Krueger. He knows what I'm talking about when I say that. But it carves very nice. So I use this stuff for the bonded linguals. I'll mix up a little bit of this and put it on my threaded thing. So yeah, and then I can write on here. What is this? I don't have a marker. I'm going to use a pencil just for. This is mold 34M, and it is the lower right 4. So there, yeah. And then you just take this out. Let's see if I can use this. And you just pop it out. There we go. And there's your mold. And then you fill it up. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. And then we can see the difference. So let me get some. I got some. Here we go. Here's some clear monomer. Here's some 62 shade. And let's just fill this up. So I'll put a few drops of monomer in there, and then we're just going to do some small layers. I forgot to mute my computer. I can hear myself. There we go. And you got to make sure that you try to do small layers, because you don't want any separation or anything, differences in the color. Now, if you want it to try to risk it and be fancy, you could put a coat of clear in there first, and that could be your enamel phase. All right, so we filled that up. I'm putting a little on there just to help soak up the extra monomer. And then I'll take that and put it in the pressure pot and let that cure. All right, let's bend the wires on this. Oh, we got some do you receive the model in resin? Do you print it in your lab? Is it good to work? This particular one I printed. So it came in as STL file, and I print it on my Form 3 printer. Hey, if you want a Form 3 printer, I have a link below that'll give you $500 off your printer if you use my code or whatever. And then I get $500 in materials, or $250 in materials. So win-win. But I print it myself. But I do have a doctor that does send me. I have 2 doctors now that already send me printed 3D printed resin models, and they mail it to me like they would a stone models or whatever. They have their own printers in house, which is fine with me. I don't have to print it. I have to use my expensive resin to print it, and they save money. Yukari is still using your old one to open mail. We totally use these to open mail now. That's why I got one, because I kept having to steal the one that's in the shipping. Yeah, so Jason Yukari, my former bosses, Jason's in the chat, right, Jason? Yukari used to call these Freddy Kruegers, and so that's what I always call it now, the Freddy Krueger. And if you know the Nightmare on Elm Street, you know. Do you want it back? No, I got extra ones now. I don't need it back. Can you make goofy teeth if you want for Halloween? I have. So, in fact, I was just scrolling through. You know how Facebook gives you, or your camera gives you memories? I have one where memories of me taking impressions of my son Beckett. He was helping on the last 2 live streams. Man, he was 5th grade or something. And he wanted to be a vampire for Halloween, and I took an impression of his teeth. And then I made a little. I used this stuff and I made fangs on there. I think Jason's made them before too. Yeah. In fact, I might have got the idea from him. So, yeah, I can make teeth for Halloween. That might be a great live stream on Halloween. That's a great idea. We should do that. Maybe I won't take my impression on live. Well, maybe I will. We'll try it. Maybe I'll make myself some fangs for Halloween. Okay. Let's get to wire bending. And so this is going to be, now if I was using Pontics, I would do the Pontics first and wax them in place. And then I would, let's see if I can change this angle, and then I would bend the wire. Because then going over this part right here, I could go between the pontic and the resin tooth. And it would make life easier instead of doing the wire first and then trying to grind the pontic to go around that tooth. So in this case, I do it now, and then we're just going to sprinkle. So I showed you the second method I use, which is using those blue molds. This one we're going to just make an acrylic block, and we're just going to make it like an acrylic block, but we're going to use it as, use tooth colored stuff, acrylic, and then that way it'll kind of look like a tooth when they smile. Again, these are on the sides, they're on the posterior, so they're not going to be seen as much, so they can, trust me, the tooth missing is going to be more noticeable than kind of a flat acrylic block tooth. Do some contouring. I remember Jason Brown, big Auburn fan. I think you went there a little while too, if I'm not mistaken. I remember when I first started working for you, right above my bench was a big Auburn, like football framed poster thing. That's what our lab was decorated in. So that's my memories of. In fact, I probably have some old pictures I could put on here of me in front of that. Oh, celebrating a birthday. Yukari threw me a birthday party and invited my sister and my wife and kids. So that was fun. That was a good memory. Jason, I get to see Yukari for the ORG, the Orthodontic Resource Group, the one I'm talking about, the Facebook group. We're planning the conference, which I guess shameless plug, I'll give that in a minute, but I get to see her in some of the planning videos we do, and let her give her expertise in helping us plan for the conference. I think I have a banner here. Where is it? Here it is. So the world's largest orthodontic laboratory conference is April 4th and 5th at the Westin at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So it's really in Irving, but it's the Westin Dallas-Fort, DFW Westin, pretty much. So it's those flying in, you can just take a free shuttle from the international airport to the hotel, and then you spend 2 days there, and we all take classes together. I'm not putting on any classes, but I am helping out running it, which is fun because I get to see all of y'all when y'all come and watch. Okay, I got that pretty much done. Let's see. Hey, Yukari, Kate said he wants his Freddy Krueger knife. Oh, you're at Yukari's now. See, I got the nice wooden handle one now. Barry, what are we making? We are making a holly with tooth colored acrylic blocks right there. And that is going, and then when we go into the trimming part, that's going to be where we kind of going to do a little bit of trickery in our trimming to make it look a little bit like a tooth from the side. Oh, that is crooked as all get out. There we go. Is this phase 1 or phase 2? This will be phase 2. I know there's missing teeth, but this is definitely, they're over the age of 12, so they got the 12-year molars. So this is after braces. They've moved all these teeth up, because remember, they're missing their laterals up here. So these laterals are actually canines, and they look just like, they've trimmed them down to make them look just like laterals, which is a good job on the orthodontist for doing that. All right, so we got that. It looks like my lord. Hey, maybe this is for you, Jason. You don't know. Not crooked part. The missing teeth part is what looks like your. Oh yeah, when I was having my birthday party, yeah, Doodle stole Becca's French fries. He had them in his hand, and they're little. What was that? Chihuahua Chiweenie mix, and just kind of like zoomed by and just grabbed one of his French fries. The same Becca I made those teeth for. So maybe if she had those vampire teeth at the time, she would have been scared and not done that. All right, so let's do these. So there's no occlusal rest on here. We're just going to do ball clasp. I'm going to do a little bit of a loop out right here so that the patient can grab it with their fingers. And keep that straight. And my goal is to try to get this to reach. Oh, it looks like it's going to. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'm going to try to reach the wires up here, and then I've just created a nice structure, strengthening structure. So you notice I overlap these. These are going to overlap now, so we're going to be good there. Now if I can just hold this in place with some sticky wax. Jason, you still use Fix-It or Zap-It to hold the wires on, the resin models? Or do y'all still duplicate your models? Like I was saying before, some labs, I was saying in other live streams, some labs, just so they don't have to change their procedures for retainer making processes, some labs will duplicate resin models. And Jason's lab was one of those when, right as I was opening up my own lab, was when, 3D printing really started hitting us. And I remember he had a dedicated guy, technician that would duplicate everything. So they 3D print, I don't know how many 3D printers y'all had at that time. 3 or 4 resin form 2s, and the guy had was doing alginate duplicating. I think you were looking at getting a duplicating machine. But the benefit of that is then you're working on a model, and a plaster model. You don't have to worry about changing your separator. You don't have to do all that. And then you have a master model, the 3D printed model. So if it breaks or something, you have a master model. You can just go and make another duplicate of it. And then you can put the retainer on the 3D printed resin model, and then send it back to the doctor on a nice clean resin model. Whereas my resin models are dirty. You know, acrylic sticks to it, and it just, I don't have a dedicated person to duplicate. Let's see what Jason said. I haven't heard a rooster yet. Pete, I don't know where he's at. He was out here earlier. He looks terrible. He's been molting. But it may be getting close to time to start roosting, I guess. Since I've been doing this late during the day, Pete, if y'all don't know, is my rooster. Do I have a picture of him? Used to. There he is. There's Pete. And he crows. He likes to crow during my live streams. But he didn't. He's not crowing today. I don't know. He probably asleep. I don't know. Yep. Okay. You do duplicate. Duplicate fixed appliances. That is smart. That is a definite plus. Duplicating the fixed ones, because then fitting bands is. We're a lot better at fitting bands on, you know, the plaster models. I know I am. Okay, we got the framework bent here. Sonia, is that one of those wood burn engraving tools, the one you use to put the yellow? Yes. I don't know. Yeah, it's a soldering iron. Let's see if I have a here. It's a soldering iron, and I actually bought it from JBC and Company, but I've seen them on Amazon. And you can choose the temperature you want. And then it has a little handle here. But JBC and Company, they actually created a special tip, which I've broken off. But I like it because it maintains this temperature at all times. Now, if you look here on this thing, this is what I don't have a, yeah, I do. This is an infrared thing, which will heat up metal instruments, and you can kind of control. You can get it cooler or thinner. I like to do this for whenever I'm having to build up. We might use it for doing these side things real quick. No lines on that model. Yes, it actually printed nicely. I don't know if it was it went through a phase. I think Perry and I, we might have figured out that it was mainly the software patch or whatever they did. It put a lot of lines in our models for a while there, but this printed out nicely. Hikari said she bought her own Freddy Krueger knife. So yeah, I get those from JBC and Company, these Freddy Krueger knives, and these blades are replaceable, so they dull out. You just unscrew this, slide it out, slide in a new one, kind of like an X-Acto knife. Yeah, soldering iron. Yeah, that's pretty much what this is. But JBC and Company, she's created a spoon type thing for this. Yeah, the soldering irons. I use it so much. Michaela, have you heard of Brock and Jubilee? They do phone prank. I have it. Were you copying him? Is that why you broke your phone? I just realized my wife left her dog in here. What do you want, Lila? Huh? Are you trying to be in the live stream? Look here. Look what I just saw. It's kind of high right there. So let me see if I can do a little adjustment on the model. There we go. What color is this going to be? Raspberry. I say raspberry because that's how it's spelled. Yeah, that is definitely flared out. Okay, I'm glad I saw this before. The worst thing is to see this as you're sprinkling. There we go. Oh, why? All right, guys, I'm sorry. Y'all know me. Yeah, I see the problem. I got this too. This is bent at the wrong spot, so I'm gonna curl it over, push that back out. Ah, that's so much better. Still crooked though. I need to get some catchphrases like, you know, wire, this is crooked as a banker or something. Me being from the South, you'd think I'd have some good sayings. I'm sure Jason, Alabama has some good crooked sayings. Crooked as a cop? I don't know. I shouldn't say that my dad was a cop. No, you don't do crank calls? That's not how you broke your phone? Okay, now we move on to the second part. And I'm going to use some utility wax. I'm going to create a wax dam for the tooth color thing. Now, I did mark on here where, now these things I can flatten them with my fingers like this and make kind of a wall, and I'm just going to stick it to the model. Just like this. See, I'm going to try to do it along what would have been the gum line. See that nice little shape? So then, and then I'm just going to seal it. And then I'm kind of creating a mold, which will help whenever I'm sprinkling the acrylic to catch the, actually, let me get my tool out that I was just now heating up. They'll help catch the acrylic, or it. As you can tell, they got some bone loss, so you can see it's just missing some bone there. So any acrylic I put on here is just going to slump off. So now I've attached that. I'm kind of pulling it up, and that's kind of what it looks like. Now I do kind of want let me put a little dot of, I tore a hole in it, but it's wax, easily repaired. Now I'm kind of making like a bowl with it, kind of to hold the this stuff. So let me get, I keep my, here's another trick. I keep my, you can't see it, it's up here on my light. I keep a little bit of the utility wax up here. Keeps it nice and warm and pliable. So I'm just, again, this usually shouldn't take that long. If it was just a clear, like acrylic block, like you would normally do, just to hold space, but you know, let's say it's not. This is probably an adult, and they're kind of conscientious about their teeth, and some kids, young kids, they could care less. And then, so we just put a clear acrylic there just to hold some teeth, or hold the space until they can get old enough to get implants or a crown or something. I lost my train of thought on that. Oh, if it was just an acrylic block, what I would probably do is just stick some to the side, kind of like this. I would just stick it, boop, just on the side there, and that just creates a dam so that it doesn't roll off while I'm trying to sprinkle this. I'm not as an accurate sprinkler as Jason Brown. Jason Brown is the master at putting acrylic exactly where he needs it and nowhere else. I have picked up some tips from him, but I just found out I do not have the patience for that. I just slap it on. But he has taught me to slow it down and just sprinkle it exactly where it needs to be. All right, So this, we are doing labial acrylic, so I'm gonna run a bead of hot glue right across here. Again, I'm creating another dam so the acrylic doesn't just cover that whole thing. And then when I cut through it, it's easier to cut through the hot glue than it is to cut through the other part. Crooked as a politician's back. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that labial bow is as crooked as a politician's back. I like that. I did not set up my acrylic over there, so I'm going to bring the acrylic to here. Let me get a paper towel so I do not make too big of a mess. And what am I doing? Raspberry? Let me grab that. Yeah. And now this is going to actually make it challenging because it's colored monomer. Now, so hopefully I can show how I do that. All right, do I have everything? I think I do. Okay. I have my model. I have regular crystal monomer, and I have tinted clear monomer for the labial bow. And then I have regular splint acrylic. I have my raspberry monomer, which is beautiful color. And then I have my tooth colored powder. So let's clear an area here. And we're going to start, like I always start, with the labial bow. And I'm going to use the tinted clear. So this labial bow is going to help, be more retentive, to help keep the retainer in the mouth. So you got the ball clasp in the back, you got the labial acrylic in the front, and then also help keep the teeth more straight. More straight. It'll keep, retainer. It retains the straight teeth. So this person probably came out of braces recently. Again, we're looking at an older teenager. Maybe not quite. Well, I can't tell. I don't know where his or her 18-year-old molars are. Okay, so now y'all know my usual is I like to put the names in the retainers. So I'm going to put a layer of, I forgot to get the name. Pull it off. I hear ducks. Do y'all hear the ducks? I hear ducks, but no Pete. I hope Pete's okay. He was looking pretty rough the last few days. Probably not feeling so good. So I'll put the name in there underneath the wire. And then I'm just going to leave that like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to doing the tooth. So and I'm going to use this monomer, because if you use the tinted clear monomer, it's got tint in there. It'll change the shade. I'm just going to build this up, kind of like I did that blue mold. And I'm trying to be real careful. I'm trying to channel my Jason Brown. Try to get this powder exactly where I want it, nowhere else. So I'm just creating that tooth-colored acrylic block. I don't really worry too much about creating the cusp tip because they would just want an acrylic block. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to put a little bit of clear halo. And this is going to protect it from the raspberry I'm about to put against here. Like a little safety zone, because the monomer is pretty powerful. So I'm going to get this ready for the monomer here. And you see how it's stopped? Because if I didn't put that clear halo sandwiched in between the raspberry would affect the color of the pontic. Of course, if I was using like standard pink or something, I would just use that. So I have a nice line. Oh, I didn't mean to use that. I have a nice demarcation line between the raspberry color and the tooth. Now it did slump on me a bit. I'm gonna add just a bit here. There we go. Let's go to the other side. Again, I always like to start with a little bit of clear under the wires. And then I'm going to jump straight to the tooth color powder to create my acrylic block. Again, I'm using 62 because that's what the assistant told me she made in Essex using 62 shade. So we have the same shade guide. We usually, like, in fact, I had to just now ship a shade guide. Do I have it? No. No. Okay. I had to ship a shade guide to a doctor, and I didn't realize he didn't have my shade guide. So I was having to always convert. Oh, I'm going to put that little clear halo. I don't know why I'm calling it a halo. A little protection. A little clear protection there. And wet it. Because if you leave it dry, then the raspberry will color it. So put the raspberry on. Be careful. Raspberry can be, or colored monomer are always challenging in cases like this. Especially these JBC colors, they're so, what's the good word for powerful colors? They're not concentrated, but it's really a powerful color. Okay, I'm gonna quit there. And that was a good shot. You can see the nice demarcation there. DMZ, demarcation zone. Build that up. All right, let's do the middle. Let me add, oh, that's starting to set up. See, that's one bad thing about this is sometimes it takes a long time to sprinkle this, and when there's labial acrylic will start setting up on you, so you need to speed up. I guess another method is if you're new to sprinkling, you could actually do those acrylic things first. See how it's spilled some monomer there on that? It's okay, it'll trim off. But you could do those first and then put them in the pressure pot and cure them for a bit. Don't put them into water yet, and then get it out of the pressure pot and sprinkle the rest of it. Now, the model will be not really warm, so it's going to set up the rest of the acrylic fast, but there's an option. Or use that mold technique. I've done that before. Sometimes it's just easier to grind in a little bit of a pontic in there, even if they've asked for a acrylic block. I've used a mold version of the acrylic. Okay, let's stop there, Kate. Stop there. Let's trim this. Where's my trimmer? Nope, there it is. All right, let's see if I can even cut this labial acrylic. Yeah, it's already set up. Darn it. Okay. That might prove impossible. Now the prescription didn't call for the acrylic to go past the 6s very far. So I'm not worried, or not, you know, no acrylic on the 7s pretty much. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. Let's clean this up just a little bit so it's easier to take off. The poor thing, the label acrylic's gonna have some bubbles in it because I took too long explaining it. Into the pressure pot it goes. I have a feeling that's gonna slump. Okay, but the good news is, while that's curing, hopefully we won't get too many bubbles in the labial acrylic. But here is that mold we did. I put in there. It's nice and cured already. Let's pop this out and see what we got. Nope. Ah. There we go. I think it was this one. So there is the one on over here. This is the tooth colored, and then this is, now this is, oh, this is actually 62 shades. So these are the same shade, but you can see there's a little bit of a little darker here, a little lighter there, like a natural tooth, whereas this is all monochrome, all one shade. But the good thing is you get the shape of the tooth in there, and that helps with that. So, all right. Yes, keep your label acrylic wet. That is, I missed that. You're supposed to, as you're sprinkling, just go back and sprinkle, and I didn't do that. I was too busy explaining the other part, so I kind of messed that up. But yeah, as you're sprinkling each side, just keep wetting the labial acrylic, and it won't cure as fast. Do y'all dress up in Halloween to deliver costumes? Because no, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a great idea. Well, we don't go much into the offices to pick up and deliver, not much. I do have my scrubs that I put on to go deliver. You know, you got to take a shower and comb your hair and make yourself look nice because you're going into the doctor's office. You don't want to go in there. And I say that because one time I was told a story of an assistant was telling me that their lab guy would show up like disheveled hair and like sweatpants and paint smeared on it and stuff, just looked like a homeless person, and they're delivering cases in front of all the assistants. So that kind of helped me to think of my appearance whenever I go deliver. But usually we use night boxes or deliver them really early in the morning before everybody gets there. So that's a good idea. I like that. Dress up in Halloween. Thanks. Sonia, I hope the dentist is not seeing this because you're really fast and it looks easy to do the work. That's a good point. It is I've heard that happening before where a dentist or orthodontist will see someone with a lot of experience do work. It's like, that took you 30 minutes. You're really going to charge me $60 for this? It's like, I'm charging $60 because it took me 30 minutes. You know, there's a lot of, what would you call, like apprenticeship or skilled trades out there that the more experience you get, the faster you get, and the more money you should get paid for it. But people are like, oh, well, that was too easy. Why am I paying so much for that? I hear stories about that all the time. You're like, where can I get those molds? So I got this. These are Lab Putty 90 from Pala. go to Benco. I think I got it from Benco, which is a dental supply place. They sell dental lab supplies to. Benco.com. BENCO, I think, is where I picked that up at. And you can get, and then you can make your own tooth molds, like this, and just keep them handy. Again, those molds are great for when you need to make a. You don't want to use a nice Pontic in a suck down Essex because it just won't look. I mean, it'll look the same. I think, in my opinion, it'll look the same. But yeah. Sonia, you make a good point about being really good at your job, and then doctors be like, "Why am I paying you to do that?" It's kind of like if the orthodontist was able to adjust a kid in 3 minutes, and the lab or the parent would be like, "Really? I'm paying you thousands of dollars and they only sit in the chair for 5 minutes?" But hey, that's where the experience come from. All right, let's put this in the. So I just put that in the water part of the pressure pot. But yeah, while we're waiting on that to finish curing, it'll be a few more minutes. Now, what I'm going to do is we're running out of time. We're already out of time. I'm going to, for those that want to hang out, I do have my other camera ready to go. And we will trim them, and I'll show that one little trick. I mean, not pumice. Y'all have seen me pumice 1,000 times. Again, I'll try to do that. I would take a lot of time, but it's really cool to see an expert doing the work. It's the same in others. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it won't. The more you do it, the less time it will take you, and it will frustrate you when you have one that does take you a lot of time because your body's not used to. You bend a labial bow in 3 or 4 minutes, and then you have one that takes 15 minutes. You're like, what is wrong with me? But 15 minutes isn't bad, to bend that labial bow. So yeah, I definitely would not call myself an expert. There are way better people out there than me. I'm just the one that's not afraid to show what it's like to build one of these, and all my mistakes. Yeah, that's true. You'll get frustrated and with wire bending, you should try that and time yourself. It kind of helps to know how long it takes you to bend a labial bow, because then you can when it's taking longer than your usual time. Let's say it takes you 15 minutes to bend a labial bow and 2 Adams clasp, and it's taking you 30 minutes. You're like, what's going on? Am I not paying attention? Am I not focused? Am I too busy watching YouTube? It's my fault. I find myself really, I'm over here bending, and I'm over here bending like this, and I'm kind of watching my phone, YouTube, and I'm like, oh, wait, okay, get busy, get going. So let me finish, put some of this back up, and then we're going to see if I can separate that one. Now, a lot of the times on this channel, I work on actual cases that have to go out. So if that labial acrylic is too bad, too bubbly, where I think the patient's not going to like it, I'll redo it. And that's just a matter of just grinding it off, re-prepping the model, putting it back on. That'd probably be a good video to do, is how to do repairs. Actually, I think I have one where I do repairs. But I wish Jason could yell at me and go, wet your labial acrylic, it won't set up as fast. Do you ever optimize your models? What is this feature? Yes, it's automatically optimized. So EasyRx is what I use. All my doctors send their cases through EasyRx, and they attach the STL files to it, and then EasyRx automatically optimizes them, fills in holes and stuff like that. Now, and it 99% of the time it does a good job, and that's what we use. We use the optimized version to base and label using EasyRx again, the 3D module. That's what EasyRx uses to optimize. Now I can use Mesh Mixer, and that being said, I do want to bring up the banner again. If you want to come to the conference, we are having from Roque OrthoLab, we're having a Mesh Mixer expert come show us some tips and tricks. You can use Mesh Mixer to base and label. You can't use it to label, but you can do lots of fun things with Mesh Mixer, and it's a free download. But there will be a class on Mesh Mixer tips, and also a class on the different softwares you use for models in the lab, and it'll give a comparison and stuff. So we were just talking about that not too long ago. So Iliac, yeah, oh yeah, true on the taking time and stuff. But let's get this out. And we will cross our fingers that I can get this off. I should just do that over there, but no, that one. This is where the hot glue is going to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel out that hot glue. Actually, let me get this off the model. It'll be easier. You can tell how much I use that. It's just all beat up. Super cheap though. Tri-Group Technologies, they're the ones that have the patent on the separator for 3D models. They make these. They make some. They're not plaster, they're a special nylon or something. All right, so I'm gonna slide my knife under here. Now, you gotta be careful when you take this off the model, because if you do it at a certain angle, you can snap these. It's the same thing with Pontics. You can snap those off. Now, these are gonna be way more chemically bonded to the rest of the retainer, because it, you did it in powder form. Whereas if I did a pontic, I would have to, okay, I gotta stop talking so I can get this off without breaking it. Love these live streams, but they could be nerve-wracking. And my neighbors running their four-wheelers around is making me nervous. Whew. Okay, I got that off. I'll scrape off as much of this wax as I can. You can see I got what looks kind of like a pontic gum line there. All right, I'm going to go over to the steamer and steam this. You can already see the air bubbles in there. Thank you. You're doing great. Oh man, that's good to hear. That makes me happy. All right, I'm going to go over to the steamer and steam this off, and we will trim this. All right. So now, let me move the cameras over to there. Let me move my wife's goose out of the way. And oh, I need the model, don't I? So let me zoom out on this camera here. I'm going to try to get. Ow. I got a little remote camera thing. Come on. Wake up. Here we go. And it disconnected. All right, we're just going to have to go with what we got. Oh, come on. I got one camera, and I'm trying to, there we go. Not a good shot, but this is my bulk grinding wheel. See if I can zoom in on that. Hold on, guys. I have the hardest time getting cameras to work over here. Is this, what are y'all seeing here? Woo! Scared me. Wasn't paying attention. Sorry, guys. Oh, let me turn the suction on. Trying to be as slow as possible. Try not to build too much heat. This will shrink on you if you're not careful. These lowers are notorious for that. Sorry, I know the camera angle is not the best. Let me see if I can. Move the camera a bit for you. Hold on, guys. There we go. Maybe that'll work. But you've seen me do this 100 times. But if there's anybody new out there. So let me do the labial bow. Not gonna touch those acrylic blocks yet. Just want to get kind of a shape going. Okay, I think I'm good. All right, let's turn off that loud noise and get back to here. Actually, I probably need to double check. Make sure. Where's my favorite bird? That's got to be it. Am I doing it? Yep. All right. Trying to add a little light on the subject. So then all this goes the same. Now, you heard me talk about Jason Brown and how perfect he can sprinkle everything exactly where he wants it. This part just takes a few minutes when he sprinkles. In fact, they just use, I don't know if they still do it, they use Dremel tools with a nice aggressive burr, and they just trim like I'm doing now, and it just takes just a few minutes to, because you know the thickness is already set by the acrylic person, and all you're doing is trimming the flashing. Well, hey Lila, you coming to check on me, huh? All right, let me break out this thing. This is the stainless steel bristle brush. And it helps me to clean up around the wires without damaging the wires. Guys, I think I'm going to have to replace this lady with acrylic. But that is not what this show is about. Alright, so I mainly use the stainless steel bristle brush to clean up around the wires. Okay, so now let's work on these Pontics. I call them Pontics. I'm going to use a different burr. I'm going to use a fine cut burr. You see the teeth are a lot less aggressive. This is a coarse cut. The teeth are, I don't know if this will show up or not. Nope. Okay. Let me steam this model off real quick so I don't keep putting wax on there. So, if I put it back on here, you can see what we're dealing with. So we just need to trim this buckle side down. Remember this? I had said, uh-oh, I put raspberry on here, but it'll grind off. There it is, ground off. So this is where I mainly want to show the trimming is I'm going to round this, and I know my gum line made by my wax wall is there. So now my main thing I'm trying to do is I want to match the profile of this tooth. So yeah. So I'll just keep going. Hopefully y'all can see it. So yes, I am trimming it while it's on the model. And if y'all know anything about, bicuspids, there's really like two faces to it. There's this side, this side and this side, and they kind of come at a point like that. Well, if my ball clasp wouldn't. Let me get my stainless steel bristle brush here. I'm going to clean up around the wire, kind of, give it a little definition, a little separation. And I have a smaller burr here. I'm just going through the burrs like crazy. It's the same fine cut, but it's just a different shape. It's real skinny. Alright, let me look at the profile of this. Yeah, I like it. So this corner here, I kind of want to round it some more, and that corner next to the wire I need to round it some more. Give it a less square look, more of a round. I want to say the official term is the emergence profile. Kind of like it's emerging out of the gums. So that when they're, so I'm looking at this way, and I just kind of want it to match the other teeth. I know it's flat, but you know, I can, you know, if you wanted to, you could put a cusp tip. Remember, we're just doing an acrylic block, but I kind of like to make the acrylic block look like a pontic, the lower half of it, especially when I'm doing tooth colored. So let me get this. Remember how I rounded the distal part of this? I'm using this wire bristle brush to round the tooth going into that wire. That you know, if you're coming from Crown and Bridge, you could really do your magic here. You could put some fossa in there. You could actually, you know, build up a little cusp tip here. You could, you know, put a little a groove in there, secondary grooves and primary grooves, or fossa or whatever. So here is before and after. Here is the after, here is the before. So this is what we're going to work on next. But you can kind of see how we kind of made that look like a little bit of a pontic. So when they look in the mouth, it won't look like a big square chunk of like tooth colored gum in there. So I'll actually look down here from the side. It actually tapers a lot more than I want it to, but it's mainly because they got some bone loss there. So it really has to go in, but I'm keeping the gum line the same height pretty much. It could probably go down a little bit further if you want it to. So let's work on this side. I think I'll just keep using this burr. I'm just trying to make it look like the buccal side of a pontic. I might need to get a new, there's some wax got into this, so it's not cutting as well as I would want. So let's get a brand new one in here. Okay. I'm going to cut a V because that's going to make it look more natural. Go back to my other burr. This is where a pre-recorded video would work. I could just speed this part up because it kind of takes a little time. Probably the time you save grinding in a pontic, you spend it here. Maybe it all works out the same. I'm trying to be careful not to grind into that wire. Again, I'm just checking it's the same profile as the other teeth. Well, that raspberry got on there really good. I'm having to go pretty deep to get it off. Let me get some separation. This would be easier if there wasn't a wire right there, but it's a good training exercise. I really do like this burr. Let me flatten this here. Flatten over here. That'll make it look more natural. What I probably should have done is build those cusp tips in there, and then it could have shown y'all. Alright. This one actually turned out better than that side. I probably need to dig into that a little bit more to make that more of a sharper angle. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so let's sandpaper this. This label acrylic is nasty. Nasty, I say. Yep, I think I'm gonna have to replace it. I'm shaping it, hoping that it helps, but it's not gonna help. So y'all get to see that mess up. So now y'all know what it looks like when you've waited too long. And again, what Jason Brown was saying, if it's taking you a while, keep it wet. Hopefully it helps slows the reaction down. And I'm sure working under the heat of the lights and stuff. Now let's go back to this. Okay, there it is. Finished product. We are looking at an hour and a half live stream here. I usually try to end it at an hour, but that took a bit longer than I thought. But you know what? I'll just go ahead and set up for the pumice, and then that way those that are still watching, that's your bonus for hanging in there. Give me a second. Hopefully my camera doesn't freeze up. It's probably already frozen. No, it's not. Yay. There we go. Okay. For those 3 that are still watching, It's already Monday. Oh man, I'm late. Okay, for those 3 that are still watching, y'all, I'm gonna pumice it for y'all. I was just gonna do this off camera. Those that needed to go have already left. And oh, I need to add some pumice to that. I definitely have to, since I'm going to replace the labial acrylic, I probably wouldn't worry about this. I wouldn't worry about pumicing it and polishing it because I'm going to have to re-pumice, re-polish anyway. But we'll get a really good look at that labial acrylic. So I like to get in here, high shine these acrylic blocks, high shine them, pumice them, round off everything. Oh yeah. What I'll probably do is, for those that are Patreon members, I'll probably try in my hardest to, if I get enough time, turn on the cameras and record me replacing that labial acrylic. So if anybody's interested, I do have a Patreon channel. I do post all these videos ad-free, so if that way you do not have to subscribe to YouTube just to get ad-free versions of my videos. You can just pay $1 a month and get the ad-free anyway. It saves you $14 from the YouTube subscription. But you know, the bonus is you get all the YouTube videos are ad-free. I'm a YouTube subscriber too. Oh, doggy's wanting out. My wife has trained her to ring a bell when she wants to go outside. Alright, moving over to the high shine. This is the fun part. Ooh, look how bad that labial acrylic works. Ooh, that's nasty. Nasty, nasty. I'm kind of just doing a real quick work of this. Okay. Let's turn off some of this stuff so it's not so loud in here. And where's the model? What did I do with the model? Model needs to be cleaned, but nope. Here is the final product. Oh, let's see the labial acrylic. You can see how bubbly it is. So there's that tooth. There's that pontic. Let me see if I can turn down the light a little bit so you can see. So there's an acrylic block with tooth colored acrylic, and I just shape it a little bit and we're good. Now again, I took too long sprinkling this and this and all this and trying to keep it separate. I should have been spraying this with the monomer the whole time. I was sprinkling to keep it wet, but that is it. That is I'm going to replace that. So, Patreon members, if you're a Patreon member, keep an eye out if I'll try my hardest to record me replacing that labial acrylic and what I do to go through it. It's not bad. So, yeah, Pete is an American hero here. Usually they do crow right before he calls in his hens to come to bed to come roost. But yeah, beautiful color and work. I hate replacing labial acrylic. Yes, that is, and you are an expert at acrylic, so you probably have some pretty good tips on replacing the labial acrylic. But again, I don't know if I'll do it today or tomorrow, but when I do, I'll try to turn on my cameras, record it, and I'll post it on Patreon first. And if it comes out good, I'll edit it and put it on YouTube. So that way it works out that way. But this is, there we go. Look how dirty my hand is. Quit focusing on the dirty hand. But those are your tooth-colored acrylic blocks, and they're just shaped to look like, so whenever they're smiling or whatever, it just looks like teeth in there. Thanks for this live. Excellent work. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Y'all got to see me mess up labial acrylic live. And just boxed with wax. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll box it out with wax, or I'll use my hot glue gun. And but a lot of wax. Yeah, definitely a lot of wax to replace this. I'll strip this off using that stainless steel bristle brush. It makes quick work of it, and then I'll just box out right here, and then replace the labial acrylic. So, can you see that? Focus. Probably need to do it this way. Man, I got pumice all over my hands. I did not wash them. But usually this goes into the ultrasonic and gets cleaned that way. But that being said, hour and a half. Thanks for holding out so long and watching this live stream. It was fun. Yeah, I got to see all the mistakes and my tips and tricks. And so hopefully that helps out someone out there needing some help. And share some tips and tricks below. Like Iliak just said, he boxes it out, the labial acrylic. So Patreon members, keep an eye out for that being posted. Keep an eye out for this video being posted tonight for the ad-free version of it. And if you are looking to possibly do this as a career or upgrade your career, I am working to create a online school that takes ortho technicians to ortho owners, ortho lab technicians to ortho lab owners. So, you know, if y'all know, my name's Cade, and this is what I do for a living. Me and my wife, we work together in this lab, and that's what we do all day. We make retainers, and we make mistakes, and we correct those mistakes. So, with that being said, I will end it there, and thank y'all again for tuning in, and I will see y'all next time. I don't have my cup that says Happy Bending on it. So we'll just go Cowboys. Until next time, go Cowboys and Happy Bending. And I'll see y'all next week.